Alright, so who are we here with today?
I'm Steve Taylor.
Steve Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Old Trafford originally, but I've been living in Seoul, so I'm on with Sean now for a few years.
Okay. Well, how old are you?
51.
51. You grew up in Trafford.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up there?
Well, to start with, we grew up in my side, human that, and then we moved to Trafford when I was pretty young. It's alright, it's not too bad.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Was it not rough down there?
Old Trafford was a bit rough back in the day, you know what I mean? It's not too bad now though.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Okay. What about family life? What was that like as a younger?
Pretty hectic.
Hectic.
Yeah,
In
in and
what?
out of care homes and that, you know what I mean? Stuff
Mm.
like that. I won't stay at my dad's house and I won't stay at the care homes. So I spent most of my childhood sleeping rough and that, or shit like that.
What? Sleeping rough as a kid?
Yeah. I was like a feral kid. You know what I mean? So I was in kids' homes all over the country, but I won't stay.
What did you not like staying there, bro?
Yeah, I got when I got took off my dad at a young age, I got put with some foster parents and they treated me really bad. And I couldn't pinpoint it back then, but I just couldn't stay under the roof. I couldn't stay under any roof at all. I don't know why. When they asked me back then why I did it, I just couldn't, you know what I mean? I couldn't tell them. Couldn't explain it, but now that I'm older, I suppose I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can put words to it now, I can explain it.
What would you say would be the reason if you were to put words to it now?
Just subconsciously, I didn't trust anyone.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because like obviously I got took away from my dad because he was a bit of a brutal bastard, and then I got put with people who were supposed to be looking after me and caring for me, and they treated me 10 times worse.
Mm.
So in my head, it just didn't, you know what I mean? It just didn't equate going into care with being safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you felt you were safer on your own on the
Yeah,
streets?
yeah.
Was it not
Definitely.
scary at first?
No, not really, no.
So you,
Being scary was like been in the kids' home or, you know what I mean, wherever.
shit.
You know what I mean? Even though they were nice, don't get me wrong, I never had no trouble in the kids' homes, they were great. But in my head though, I just couldn't stay there and I didn't know why at the time.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Wow. So they did try and get you some intervention, but it didn't suit you in a way.
Yeah, they just thought I was a little fucking trouble cause I didn't care, do you know what I mean, at the time, innit? That's what it is, innit? Little bastard syndrome, innit? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, you know what I mean?
So were you going to high school?
I went for the first couple of months, I got expelled.
Oh shit. So
I didn't go to junior school much. I went to about the last year of junior school, and then I went for a couple of months in high school, and I got expelled from there because I just couldn't stay there. I just couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? I had to like, you know what I mean?
How were you treated by members of the general public? Them seeing a 13-year-old kid on the streets alone, homeless.
No, like I said, and they didn't seem to care that much, you know what I mean? You'll see me with black eyes and that, you'll see me roaming the streets there all hours of the night. So my mates were going home, staying sleeping in abandoned buildings and all that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But no one really sent me out. But like I said, I did have a couple of friends whose parents could say, look, you can sleep on the bedroom floor for a couple of nights or whatever. You know what I mean? But most of the time, no. Like I said, I'd get took back to the kids' home and I'd just be out the back door straight away again. So they ended up sending me to Yorkshire. Lived in a big castle called, look it up, Google it, it's called Dobroyd Castle. And it's in Sodmorden. And in the 80s, it was like a boys' home. It's a Buddhist retreat now for monks.
Okay.
It's a proper castle. It's made by, it was built by a guy called John Fielding as a wedding present for his wife. Yeah, and like I said, during the 80s for a couple of years, it was a boys' home. You know what I mean? So we ended up there eventually.
Okay.
Because it was so far away, they must have thought the further they put me away, and the less chance I could run away. But I had the opposite effect, though.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
By the time I was like 15, 16, I'd see most of the country.
Yeah,
because there was lads there from all over the country, and I mean, they wanted to run away, they'd always come and see me.
You were the headmaster of running away. You knew what you were doing.
Always get them home, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the worst thing you had to do to survive, like back then?
Back then, I robbed an house. My very first ever criminal conviction was robbing a house in Halifax, in Yorkshire. And it just says on it, robbing just stole items of food from the house. It must have been about 11, 12 when I did that. And it was just robbing tins of food and stuff, something to eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So did you have to go to juvenile or anything for that?
Well, that's what that place was. I ended up in a place called Wood End, an assessment centre called Wood End in Everton. That got shut down for the brutality and that. Yeah, it's all been documented and that, but yeah, like locks in your doors and alarms that go off when you try and get out of it, you know what I mean? You try and leave and all that. That was good. I ended up in there, but I ended up getting away from there as well.
See, what was that like for you in there?
It was just normal to me, that.
Oh.
It was just, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, when I first went there, it was a bit intimidating. If they just left me there for a week or two and got me off, it might have worked. But they left me there till I got accustomed to it and I got used to it, you know what I mean? So by the time 6 months down the line, the fear factor was gone, you know what I mean?
What was the fear of? What were you scared of in the first 2 weeks? What was bad
Just
about
because
it?
I heard stories about it. Like when you're in kids' homes and like you always heard about like the next step ahead. You keep fucking around, you know, it's Red Bank or Wood End and it's well, you know what I mean? It's different sort of thing there. Do you know what I mean? And it was, you know what I mean? It was uniforms and it was just like sticks of staff and that. You know what I mean? And unbreakable windows and all that. And like we had lights on your door, so if you open your door at night, the alarm would go off with a red light. You know what I mean? You know, things like that.
So what would they do? Would you be schooled in these places?
Yeah. I'd own education and everything like classrooms and that. Yeah.
Oh, so it was similar to a boarding school.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, yeah. It was called actually it was called an assessment centre.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like for kids that were on remand and that, but on an early age, you know, all put there through the courts and that.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, so going through that, did you ever end up doing a crime that ended you in prison as an adult? Not any.
Yeah.
So
Spent most of my life in and out of jail
okay,
from the age of 16.
shit. Okay, so what's prison been like for you?
Now that I'm getting a bit older, I'm getting a bit sick of it. Shorter sentences now that I'm getting older. But it's like anything else, just get used to it. It's like an occupational hazard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know it sounds a bit daft, and that, you know what I mean? It's the last stop in it. It's nothing to be proud of or anything, but it's just something you get used to. And once you've been in prison once, that's it. Then they'll put you back. Slightest little thing. Even if it's just a bit of demand, but you'll always go back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like I said, on the canal bank, as a kid on the canal bank, I reckon town's the worst place because it's dangerous, but as a kid, you know what I mean? Just being like 11, 12 years old on the canal bank in the pissing rain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you say you've been in this cycle since you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
So you said the last time you were homeless was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're currently living in an area now.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the cause of you continuously being in the cycle?
Going in jail.
Yeah.
And then like before you know it, you're out again, you're kicked out on the street and there's no help for you. Don't get me wrong, you put your name down with the housing and that, but when you're homeless and all that, you're not going in bidding on places and stuff like that and going into the housing and stuff like that. So that's the thing on your mind. You know what I mean? There's not many people who aren't living on the streets and finding it hard to get accommodation at the moment. Single males out of priority. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, when last did you go to jail actually?
I got out there a couple of months ago.
Oh, a couple of months ago again.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that for this time?
Theft.
Okay. Yeah. It's not. But you have to do it to survive in a way.
Yeah, basically. I don't go into shops to like piss anyone off or ruin anyone's day. I spoke to loads of managers in shops in Manchester and I said, you know, like, you've been horrible with me. And I said, listen, you know, you see me in the shop, tell me to go and I'll go. I'm not coming in here to ruin your day. It's the last resort, man.
No.
And some of the managers now come up to me and say, come on, mate, and have a chat with them and get on with them. They're alright with me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not aggressive. I'm not one of them who fucking want to fight over a bag of fucking bacon. Do you know what I mean, mate? They might argue and say, I ain't got it, you know what I mean? Try and hide it, but I'm not really, you know what I mean? You're doing a job at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You don't deserve to be, like, you don't deserve to be disrespected or fucking shouted at or anything like that. You know, you get some proper knobheads coming in shops thinking you can give it all that. Just mean tell them to leave and that, man. You don't deserve that, man, for doing the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also think you don't deserve to be treated like shit as well,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like less than you.
I've had women in cell more, man. The ones that, I should have said that, but she was going out and punished me in the head and everything, mate. You know what I mean? This is outside the shop, you know what I mean? Even if just walking past it, she'll run out and scream at me. The old lady. You know what I mean? She's ruthless.
Yo.
Terrified of her.
Have you ever struggled with addiction?
Yeah.
So what kind of addiction have you struggled with?
When I was a kid and that, I used to sniff a lot of solvents as a kid and that. I was obviously sleeping up and that. I used to drink a lot as a kid as well.
Solvents?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of.
Yeah, glue and stuff like that, man.
Okay.
Back in the 80s, man, there's a big thing about glue sniffing. Evil stick and a lot of kids used to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I used to drink a lot as well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Really drunk a lot as a kid.
How would you get the alcohol as a kid?
Just go and rob it or I'd get someone to buy it for me. You know what I mean? Some shops would just sell it back then. Not like it is now. You know what I mean? You could just walk in and buy 20 flags back then. They won't care less. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So why do you think you did it?
Why did he think of drinking that?
Yeah, why did?
Just because it was mind-numbing boredom a lot of the time. Like I said, all my mates were in school, and I was just roaming the streets doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all day, all night as well, though. Do you know what I mean? Then I'd have to go to like some old empty house. You know what I mean? Get my head down there. So I suppose I just started drinking because of that.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Did it ever ease the pain of you being in the streets? Did it ever numb the reality?
Temporarily, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not really. Yeah, temporarily. Maybe I thought it did at the time.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the long run, it never does it? So then after that, I got into the first time I went to prison, I started taking heroin.
Mm.
But that's when it was a brand new drug, though. We didn't know anything about it then.
What kind of era? Like the 90s or?
Yeah.
Okay.
1990, first time I went to jail, proper jail. And heroin had just come on the scene and that. It'd been out a couple of years, but I didn't know about it like we do now. It's not like it was now, like, you know, like people like me, like someone like you now, you can look at me and compare yourself to me and say that's what I'm going to be like in a few years' time.
Mm.
Or that's what I'll be like if I fuck around with that drug.
Mm.
We didn't have that. So it was just a
Oh.
new drug. It could have been MCAT, it could have been cocaine, anything we didn't know.
Mm.
It was just a new drug on the scene. And before we know it, we're all waking up, throwing our rings up and that because we can't get it. We need it, you know what I mean? We're all withdrawing off it and that. We didn't know anything about withdrawals until it happened to us.
Yeah.
You know what I
Wow.
mean? And that's how we found out about it.
So you would have had withdrawals.
Yeah.
You did you know at the time that it was because of the
No,
heroin?
it was my cousin. He said to me, he said, it's that shit we're smoking. And I wouldn't believe him. He said, listen, the dealer's on his way now. He said, wait, he said he's been and tell me I'm wrong then. And after the dealer had been a smoke, he had a win. I thought, fuck it, he's right, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
So you were discovering as it was.
Yeah, as it happened, yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Shit. That must have been scary though. That
Yeah,
must
it
have
was,
been
yeah, it
really.
was when I realised, yeah, of course
Yeah.
it was. You know what I mean?
What?
Like,
what
like I
go on.
said, when you go to jail now, like I say 60-70% of the people who are in there, even the ones that you don't know about have been using heroin or something like that. You know what I mean? But back then, you go to jail and it was like, you could count one hand amount of people on a wing that had been into heroin. And if you was into it, you had to keep it undercover. There's a bad taboo about it, even worse than what it is now. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, at the start of it, there was a bad taboo.
When people first started finding out about it, yeah.
And why
You know what
was
I mean?
there a taboo on it?
Because people were realising what he was doing to people.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
said, you out on the wings, like if you was on anyone on the wing, there might be one other lad maybe. You know what I mean? And that was it out of the whole wing. So you'd be on there withdrawing, not selling no one. You couldn't sell no one. There's no medication off the healthcare or nothing like that. Like I said, it was all brand new.
And what kind of withdrawals would you have to go through alone?
It just starts off like a sniffle, starts off like a flu, but then it just gets gradually worse and worse. So you're like pretty much in a fetal position, throwing up, and you can't even move, can't function. And then you get to a point where you don't get a buzz out of it. And first you get it's a nice feeling to start with, but that goes after the bit. You don't get nothing out of it whatsoever. Just the way you feel now. You take it in the morning just to feel the way most people feel when they wake up. If you don't take it, like I said, then you're withdrawing off it. Like I said, the heroin, it's just to make you feel normal. But if you're smoking crack cocaine or something, that's different.
Mm.
That's more of a psychological addiction. It's not a physical addiction. It's a mental addiction. You know what I mean? So most people out there doing this class A shit, they'll spend a lot more money on the crack than what they go with heroin. You know what I mean? I know people get a few £10 a day on heroin. You know what I mean? Some people more. You know what I mean? But some people can get a few £10 a day. But if they're smoking crack, the more crack they smoke, the more gear they want, the more smack they want to bring them to level them back down again because they're wired. You know what I mean? So that's where the thing is at. You know, like the money. That's where the money comes into it. You know what I
Actually,
mean?
yeah, you're right.
Crack.
He was on crack, not heroin.
Yeah.
So you say, how long have you been taking heroin for?
I'm 51 now, so I was 16 when I first took it.
Mm. And would you say it's
35 years.
35 years?
Yeah.
Would you say it's affected your life negatively in any way?
100%, yeah.
Like in what ways would you say?
Everything in and out of prison, you just never have nothing when you're on heroin. It takes everything off you. People that have no respect for you. You know what I mean? People look at you a certain way, think you know everything about you just because you're on heroin. You know what I mean? So just the name of it alone. You know what I mean? It seems acceptable to sniff coke and that, and all the rest of it. You know what I mean? 30-year-old kids beating up ladies for £30 bag of bud, you know what I mean? But no one seems to mention that. But if I go in the shop and have a bit of bacon or sausage, I'm the scum of the earth. You know what I mean? But I'm doing that because you don't physically or mentally hurt anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You wouldn't do anything to actually
No, I don't
harm
bother.
anyone
No,
if
the
it
amount of
made you
people
money.
on my estate, so you know what, mate, you can come in my house anytime, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're dealing with you 20-odd years, mate. We know you inside out. You know what I mean? We know you'd never do anything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't do that. That's why I go to shops. You know what I mean?
What do you reckon would take you out of this cycle?
Like I said, just getting older than mine. I'm getting to that point now. I'm getting sick of it anyway. You know what I mean? I'm getting too old for it anyway. I'm gonna wake up any day and I'm just coming to my senses. You know what I mean? See it happening.
Yeah.
Thought it'd happen a lot sooner, to tell you the truth, but I'm 51 now. I don't want to be doing this till I'm 60. You know what I mean?
Have you ever had a period of not doing it?
Only when I've been in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't really count that because it's been forced on me, so I don't really count that. I've never done a rehab or anything like that. I've been offered one.
Been offered, but you didn't take it.
No, I've never been offered.
Oh, never been offered one.
Never ever been offered a rehab.
So
I know some guys who've been in and out of rehabs 5, 6, 7 times. No, I've not been offered it once. I asked them about 8 months ago, and she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do that. She gave me a big long list of things that I've got to do, and I said, yeah, I'm asking you for help, man. I've never asked you before. You've never offered it me before. What she basically said, well, you've got to jump through hoops for it. But by the time I've done all this, I'm going back in prison anyway. You know what I mean? But she would have jumped at the chance and said, yeah, you know what I mean, we'll get it sorted out. Even if you have to wait a few months, I wouldn't mind doing that. We're doing something to focus on it. You know what I mean? But nothing come of it, so.
you feel like no one's really trying to help?
It's not like I don't know. It's not like they're not trying to help, but they just want to put you on methadone all the time, and that's all they want to do. And I won't take it because that's 10 times worse to come off than what the heroin is. The withdrawals off that shit are terrible. Yeah. Anyone will tell you that, man. The withdrawals off methadone are really intense. You know what I mean? Really intense. So I won't take it. But you'll go back. You can go back there week after week, and they'll put you up a bigger dosage. You know what I mean? To you, but they won't tell you what's going to happen if you end up in jail or you can't get it one time. You know what I mean?